An effective website design should fulfill its intended function by conveying its particular message and while simultaneously engaging the visitor. Several factors such as consistency, colors, imagery, simplicity, and functionality all contribute to good website design. Hi and welcome to this lecture. HTML allows us to embed images on the web page. And in this lecture, we are going to learn about HTML images. Hello and welcome. Now let's see how we can add images to our web pages. Images can improve the design and the appearance of a web page. The HTML image tag is used to embed an image in a web page. Images are not technically inserted into a web page. Images are linked to web pages. The image tag creates a holding space for the referenced image. The image tag is empty. It contains attributes only and does not have a closing tag. Syntax. The image tag has two required attributes. src specifies the path to the image. Alt specifies an alternate text for the image. Here's an example of image tag. In this example, we are using image tag to display an image. The required src attribute specifies the path, that is URL, to the image here. The required src attribute specifies the path, that is URL, to the image. Here, picture truly.jpg is the name, or sometimes you can specify the path also. The alt attribute defines an alternate text for the image if it can't be displayed. And we are giving the height and width to the image. Let's see the output. Great. The image has been displayed successfully. Now let's see an interesting property of image tag. Image floating. Use the CSS float property to let the image float to the right or to the left of a text. Here's an example of image floating attribute. In this example, we are applying the float pretty to the image so that it can float to the right of the screen. Now let's see the output. Great! The required image will display on the browser. Now the next property is image as a link. HTML allows us to click on the image and go to a different page. It is called as image links. To use an image as a link, put the image tag inside the A tag. Here's an example of image as a link. In this example, we are giving ink, that is ink, to the image. We have to see the output for better understanding. Open the browser, click on the images. Voila! We are redirected to the data's good page. Now, the next type of image, animated images. HTML allows animated GIFs. Here's an example of animated image. In this example, we are using animated image. To add an animated image in HTML is quite easy. You need to use the image tag with the src attribute. It is the same as adding the normal image. Now let's see the output. Awesome! The animated image has been displayed on the browser. So this is it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll see more about HTML images. Here's an assignment for you. Use CSS to set the size of the image to 250 pixels wide and 400 pixels tall. Solve the assignment. As you all know, we are learning about HTML images. But before we start, let's see the agenda of this lecture. Today, we are going to learn a few HTML images in HTML and an example of HTML images with a detailed explanation. And at the end, there would be an assignment for you. So let's get started now. Our first type of image is image maps. The HTML map tag defines an image map. An image map is an image with clickable areas. The areas are defined with one or more area tags. The idea behind an image map is that you should be able to perform different actions depending on where in the image you click. To create an image map, you need an image and some HTML code that describes the clickable areas. Syntax. Now, the areas. At the clickable areas, a clickable area is defined using an area element. Shape. You must define the shape for the clickable area, and you can choose one of these values. Rect, which defines a rectangular region. Circle, which defines a circular region. Poly, that defines a polygonal region. Default defines the entire region. You must also define some coordinates to be able to place the clickable area onto the image. Now we'll see an example of shape. Shape is equal to rect. The coordinates for shape is equal to rect come in pairs. One for the x-axis and one for the y-axis. The rect element is a basic SVG shape that draws rectangles defined by their position, width, and height. The rectangles may have their corners rounded. Here's an example of shape rect. The width and height attributes of the rect element define the height and the width of the rectangle. Draws a rectangle onto the display positioned at x and y with sides length w and h, that is width and height. The coordinates 34, 44 is located at 34 pixels from the left margin and 44 pixels from the top. The coordinates 270, 350 is located 270 pixels from the left margin and 350 pixels from the top. Now let's see the output. We got the image of the required shape. Now the next is HTML background images. A background image can be specified for almost any HTML element. To add a background image on an HTML element, use the HTML style attribute and the CSS background image property. Here's an example of background image. In this example, we are using background image. We are applying the images to the background of div and p elements. Let's see the output. You can see images being displayed at the background. Here's an assignment for you. Use the correct HTML to make the image become a link to default.html. We are learning HTML images, but before that, let's quickly see the agenda of today's lecture. So today we are going to learn the remaining HTML images types and examples of HTML images with detailed explanations. And at the end, there would be an assignment for you. So let's get started with our first type of image. Background repeat. The background repeat CSS property sets how background images are repeated. A background image can be repeated along the horizontal and vertical axis, or not repeated at all. To avoid the background image from repeating itself, set the background repeat property to no repeat. Now here is an example of background repeat. Now in this example, the images are going to repeat in the background. Now let's see the output. The image has been repeated in the background. Let's move on to our next image. Picture element. The HTML picture element allows you to display different pictures for different devices or screen sizes. The HTML picture element gives web developers more flexibility in specifying image resources. The picture element contains one or more source elements, each referring to different images through the src set attribute. This way, the browser can choose the image that best fits the current view or device. Each source element has a media attribute that defines when the image is the most suitable. Now here is an example of picture element. Here we have given different source media at different widths. Now let's see the output. Resize the browser to see different versions of the picture loading at different viewport sizes. Now you can see different images at different sizes on the browser. The browser looks for the first source element where the media query matches the user's current viewport width and fetches the image specified in the src set attribute. These are some common images format which we can use with HTML image. Now, common image formats. These are abbreviation, file format, file extension, APNG, animated portable network graphics. .apng, GIF, that is graphics interchange format, .gif, ICO, Microsoft icon, .ico, .cur, JPEG, which is Joint Photographic Expert Group Image, .jpg, .jpeg, .jfif, .pjpeg, .pjp, PNG, which is Portable Network Graphics, .png, SVG, which is Scalable Vector Graphics, .svg. So this is it for the image concept in HTML. I hope you enjoyed the concept. Here's an assignment for you now. Set the background image at no repeat. So solve the assignment. I'm looking forward to meeting you in the next lecture. Stay tuned and keep learning.